Welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That is public access TV. Joe, are we starting over again because I'm getting the intro? Joe?
There it is.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That's public access TV. My name is Dirk Keller. This is Bob Boyd. Over there is Earl Supple. And once again, we are graced with the presence of Pat White.
Pat White.
What did I call you?
Earl Supple. Earl the Pearl isn't here.
You know, Joe, we just need to start all over again. We're still a little rusty from taking the summer off, at least I am. We want to make sure we say hi to Earl Murphy and his lovely wife Louise, and look forward to having Earl back on the show here real soon. We are here to talk about the Hawkeyes. They opened the season at home last Saturday against Northern Iowa, and it was I thought it was a pretty good game. I don't know what you guys thought. 31-24 final score. It was a nail-biter until the closing minutes of the game. I thought that final drive by the Hawkeyes was pretty strong.
Well, the interception.
That
That interception.
Bo Bowers
Yeah.
from West Branch.
He's talking about
the quarterback.
interception.
Oh, that one, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
End of the
That
game.
one there turned things around.
It did. I just thought Rudock stood tall on that last possession and made some, multiple big pass plays.
Yeah,
And
I
it
did
just didn't
too.
seem like he was going to be denied. They were looking deep, going deep,
Well,
and they
and
did
I
it
didn't
successfully.
That's the most long passes that he's ever thrown, I think. You know, he hadn't thrown too many long passes.
Up to that possession at the end of the fourth quarter, he had not thrown any passes longer than 15 yards, or completed any passes longer than 15 yards.
Okay.
His completion yardage wasn't too good, but 31 out of 41 is pretty darn good.
I'll take it every
No
time.
interceptions, no
Yep.
fumbles.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what he does, and he did this a lot last year. I mean, we all remember the things that sometimes people don't do well, but he manages a football game pretty well.
Yeah.
He's
That's
a pretty,
right.
pretty smart quarterback, and I think certainly now he has more experience. We're going to see that, I think, moving forward.
But
And this game, no interceptions.
Yes.
That really made me feel good about him because he's always had interceptions every game I've gone to.
Well, he had 13 last year. That's one per game.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's certainly too many.
right.
And last year at this time, didn't we play Northern
Yeah,
Illinois?
we dropped the
Got
first
beat.
game. I, for one, was disappointed that Beathard didn't get a shot after the talk about two quarterbacks and some rotation. We'll see what happens this week. And Kirk has reiterated that that's the plan,
Yeah.
to get him in. But all he said at his press conference yesterday was, it'll happen. He didn't say when or how or what the plan will be.
Well, I think we'd all be interested to see that, Pat, but as looking at the history of the Iowa program, those second-team quarterbacks don't get much of a chance.
No,
So
they don't.
hopefully this year will be different.
But I think I may have mentioned this last week. I think it's important that they keep Beathard interested.
Absolutely.
And if he doesn't see the field, he's going to move on.
Yes, I agree.
It seems like they always do.
Yeah.
And you
but-
can't blame them.
No.
No.
But I think we're going to see him play. I don't think there's any doubt.
And you never know when injury strikes.
Oh,
That's it.
boy.
That's the main thing.
Well,
Look at
that's-
Wiseman. He hardly played at all.
Yeah. We had 5 different
He told
running
him he
backs
wasn't
carry the
going to
ball.
carry the ball that much.
Well,
Yeah.
Parker's carry was not from the running back position. He was
True.
set
Yeah.
out as a flanker, but he's a running back. There's no
Yes.
question about that.
And wasn't that the longest run from
Well,
scrimmage?
Except for Tavon Smith's.
Yeah, Smith was.
Was he the one who?
Smith's was the longest. Parker
The
Parker
35-yard
ran a
run.
jet sweep,
Yeah.
I think in the first quarter.
Okay.
And Smith went this way and this way.
Yeah.
He had a long run when he got.
It was the sort of run that coaches normally don't want anybody to do.
I didn't want him doing it as it started.
You go, and if it isn't there, you just
Right.
get
that's
as
right.
much as you
No, I
can.
agree
And
with you.
coming back risks a big loss.
And
But then-
penalties too. You get
Yeah.
player lining
Blocks
out.
in the
That's
back.
it.
Yeah.
But he did it. Got away with it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see him use Parker at, kickoff returns, give that young man some opportunity with all that speed. on kickoffs. That might be interesting before the season's over.
I was puzzled when Weissman stepped out to take the opening.
Well,
kickoff.
it was very puzzling, but we have always used our fullback on the kickoff receiving team, usually as one of the up people.
Yeah.
And when they lined up, it was basically three deep with what position the fullback normally takes, having dropped back Weissman.
Well,
So
let
I'm
me
sure
tell
they
you
just
about
plugged
Weissman.
Weissman into the fullback slot.
I'm real close to the family. I go to the ball games and with his mom and dad home and away. And after the game, I said, why didn't you tell me he was gonna run with the ball?
He didn't know.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
All we knew is the first day of practice, the coach come and said, we just read up on you. When you were in high school, you used to run the ball back. Well, get ready because you're probably gonna do it here.
I would
So
think
that was the first he didn't try it last year at all.
Well, you give him a head of steam.
Oh, I know it.
He almost broke
ball
it.
of Richard
I know.
Knives.
It was a great way to start the season.
It was,
Let
yeah.
alone-
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah.
really was. And,
Great field position. We go down and score. That's
And he was
great.
real happy. I talked to him after the game, and
Yeah.
he was really happy about he loves it to go out there and start off and be the,
Yeah.
what'd you think of the use of our running backs in the game?
I wasn't crazy about it.
neither.
It's hard to get into the flow if you're a football player.
Yeah.
We understand why, I guess, don't we?
Well, I think we do.
Yeah.
The wise would be to try to save Wiseman for when we really need a good run and to keep the other people interested and active, but there was no rhythm to it at all.
No.
No, and then another thing that happened that I just can't stand watching, but when we got 9 or 10 yards to go, we threw a pass for 3 or 4 yards. I mean, I
There was
don't
a lot of that.
understand that. There was a lot of that.
Yeah, that's like a replay from the last few years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, in evaluating Rudock, that's the one thing I would criticize. He passed up 3 or 4 chances with clearly open receivers to check down and throw short with somebody coming across the middle. He had wide receivers that he could have hit for 15 or 20 yards at least 3 or 4 times.
At least, yeah. That was frustrating early on.
Yeah, it needs to improve.
I think Northern Iowa deserves some of the credit. They threw a pretty solid defense up against Rudock and the running backs, and basically it looked like they were tempting him to throw deep, and he just wouldn't take the bait. He was doing the dump off passes.
Yeah.
And maybe he was told to do that.
No, at least
You
Kirk
think
says he
so?
wasn't told to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
First
hopefully
game-
they'll learn a lot from film study this week, and it's going to be pretty obvious to him that he missed some opportunities going downfield. So,
And this year, we've got some receivers who can
Yes,
get
we do.
downfield.
How about Derek Willis?
Well, they didn't use him much.
No,
one throw to him at 46 yards, right?
and it was a big one. We
Yeah.
needed that.
He's probably the only one on the team that could have made that reception
Yeah.
with his length, height, and he just barely caught it with his hands. And he threw this really. He hadn't gotten a lot of credit for this. He really deserves it on the Powell touchdown, which followed that. He threw the key block to get him into the end zone. Did a terrific job of staying on his block
That was him.
and pushing him out of Powell's way.
Now, speaking of Powell, though, I didn't expect him to play. I mean,
Yeah.
he was supposedly out for maybe the month of September here.
That's what Kirk said in media day, that he'd missed 2 or 3 games. They hope to get him back by the end of December. He's obviously a quick healer.
Yeah.
Boy, I guess that was good to see. Yeah,
Or Kirk was fibbing a little bit.
maybe
Well,
so.
I don't think he was.
Sometimes I think those coaches don't wanna rush it.
Well, Kevonte Martin Manley, the senior wide receiver, had 8 catches. He had 1 significant drop that just befuddled me, but that'll happen.
But it
You know,
was,
the thing about him that befuddled us the most is not returning punts.
Yeah,
He's a preseason All-American punt returner. Didn't get in at all to return a punt. And the explanation that Kirk has given is that Vandenberg performed better in practice and Martin Manley put the ball on the ground once or twice, and he said, we can't live with that. So
No.
Vandenberg's there, and
I just
preseason All-American punt returner,
This
returned
day I
2 in
can't
one
be-
game is
I
not.
can't believe that.
I bet that changes.
Well, I don't know, Vandenberg did awfully well.
Yeah, right.
And he's running back kickoffs too.
Yeah.
I think part of that too might be they're worried about him getting injured, and they need him as a receiver
Could
more
well
than
be.
a punt
I mean,
returner, perhaps. I mean,
Punt returners take some punishment.
yeah, they do, or they can, and Vandenberg, you know, obviously has some pretty good hands and all that, but, you know, it's a long season, so there's lots of things that can change, but right there, that means that they're willing to make some changes.
Yeah,
You've watched the warm-ups in both during the Kids' Day scrimmage.
Yeah,
They were Martin Manley, Vandenberg, and Desmond King are the punt return options. They're the 3 guys who were fielding them.
Well,
now did King get in much?
Well, he played the whole game on defense.
Quarterback.
Yeah, okay, but not
At
on,
cornerback. He didn't return any punts.
right, okay.
He's good.
boy, we gave up some big plays though on defense,
Linebackers.
it's concerning, the linebacker situation.
they burned each of our linebackers.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
disappointed in Olston.
Yeah.
He 50-year
Spearman, too.
senior, and I know he hadn't played much, but, oh, he got burned
Yeah,
He,
badly.
Yeah. Reggie Spearman, the young sophomore linebacker, he got burned one
He
time
did,
too.
yeah.
Those are correctable things, I
What
hope.
did Kurt say about that? Or did he?
Said they're correctable.
Yeah.
He attributed it to miscommunication,
Yeah.
meaning the linebackers and the
Yeah.
safeties weren't speaking to each other well enough.
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that happened a lot last year, they weren't talking. We have to start
Well,
talking.
I think I mean, we knew they were good, but with what you now see all 3 linebackers, 2 of them may be starting in the NFL this weekend, all 3 of them making NFL teams, just underscores how good the linebacking play was the last couple of years.
speaking of last year's linebackers now, where did James Morris end up? Did he make the final?
He's back with the Patriots.
He got injured.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So
got
is he on the
injured that
practice squad?
last week. I don't know how they classify that. I don't think you can be on the practice squad and be injured.
Oh,
He hasn't been cut.
No, but he wasn't. He wasn't cut. So I don't know. I
Okay.
honestly don't know. I was.
You know
kinda
what the
out of
injury
loop.
was?
It wasn't serious. It was like an ankle, I think. Golly, I was so out of the loop this weekend. I missed my first.
But he's back in there.
well, did he make the final 53-man roster
No,
for the Patriots?
no.
Okay,
No,
But
Okay.
again, due to injury. And
Yeah,
I don't know if
right.
they put him on
And I
injured
don't know if he's,
reserve or-
I talked to his grandfather
Yeah,
last week, and I don't know if he's completely healed or not.
yeah. Well, I think it happened the last week of the preseason.
Right,
okay, so they didn't send him home, that's the good news.
No.
Yeah, okay.
And I saw James Ferentz made the Houston Texans
Right.
practice
Oh,
squad.
good, good.
So those guys make like $100,000 if they stay with the squad the
Do
whole
they really?
season. Yeah,
Wow, good for them.
more than 100,000.
A.J. Eads is now with the Jets on their regular roster.
That's great. That's great.
Got a lot of former Hawkeyes, don't we, in the NFL?
Oh, I saw a count
Mm-hmm.
the other day,
I did too.
and it's phenomenal how many are. Now this was before the final cuts,
Okay,
but it was 30-some Hawkeyes in the final week that were on
I
rosters.
think after the final cuts, it's down to 20-some.
20, yeah, and then 20-something after that, and most of those other guys are on practice squads.
how many clones you got? 6? I don't know.
Well, there was 6 or 7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but a big
they-
difference.
That team looks to be in big trouble.
Big trouble.
Well,
They got big problems.
Don't count them out,
Injuries.
guys, you know how they play against us.
Yeah, but they got injuries in key positions.
Yeah.
Jamie Pollard has started a coaching search yet.
Probably after,
Yeah.
after Coach Rhodes got down on his knees and begged the referees to change the call they made, the pictures and the video went viral.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
all over the internet, all over ESPN.
Well, they've got a tough hill this week too, with
Yeah.
Oh, I
Kansas
know.
State coming to town.
Now, the only good thing
Yeah.
is Thad Ames.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
it's gonna be tough.
they're
for him.
after him up at Ames.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
It's too bad. He's a,
Oh, they're after
I think
Coach
a good
Rhodes?
coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I think he's a good coach too, yeah.
but he's really on the
he's
hot
on
seat.
real thin.
He won't make it through the season if he loses 6 or 7 in a row.
Well,
Probably not.
I hate to see that, he's a hometown boy and all
Yeah.
that, and,
Yeah.
well, you know what? That's why you get the big bucks, I guess, you
That's
gotta
right.
perform.
Right.
Bo Bauer, the West Branch native,
Yeah,
former walk-on, just got his full ride scholarship just before the season started. He is listed as a co-starter at linebacker, and he had some
Not-
big
not
plays.
anymore.
Oh, he's not?
No,
Not
he is the starter now.
the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Who has he replaced?
Travis Perry.
Okay.
In fact, I messaged to the Sports Information Office, they listed Bauer as starting last week. He didn't. Travis Perry started, but by the second offensive series for UNI, Bauer was in and Perry was out. And this week, Bauer is listed number 1 and Perry number 2.
yeah.
He had an excellent interception.
See, I don't know if you guys know, but 2 years ago, he almost beat Regina.
I was at that
handily.
game with you.
Right, okay. I mean, Regina was really lucky.
It was just like the Solon game.
He was a
That's right.
running back,
Playing running
right?
back.
No,
Yeah.
he was quarterback.
Quarterback,
Oh,
yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
But I
quarterback.
mean, he ran like a running back.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
This
had a
is
heck of
where-
a game, I
that's-
remember.
That's where Regina couldn't keep up with him because
Yeah.
they didn't know if he was gonna throw or run.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
a post-game interview with him, and he was very impressive
Mm-hmm.
for never having played, never having been interviewed in that setting. He was very articulate.
So is he
Good.
a sophomore then?
Red
No, he's
shirt
a
freshman.
redshirt
Redshirt freshman.
So Kirk lets the red shirt freshman talk
Yeah.
to the media.
See, he just got the scholarship this year.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's just true freshmen that
Okay.
can't talk.
And he's
And-
not,
And only 2 true freshmen played, although there was, people were confused by number 40 playing tight end on goal line situations. That was Ryan Ward instead of Parker Hesse.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You can tell, first of all, you could tell he was way bigger than Parker Hesse was, but you can tell by the numbers on the back of the helmet if you can make those out. And you could see number 40 on the goal line offense was number 73 helmet.
Now, another one surprised me. Is our field goal, or our extra point kicker.
Oh, yeah?
He's from Solon.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Is that,
Yeah.
is that Keen or Kane?
Kane.
Marshall Kane. He's also, I think, still a walk-on. I don't think.
Yeah, I
he
think
is
he still is.
How'd he look?
Oh, he looked like he didn't miss any.
Yeah. Did he? But
Well,
he
he
didn't
missed-
kick field goals.
You know, he kicked
One-
field
he
goals.
did.
Made a 40 and missed a 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did the extra points too, right? Yeah,
And he
I
kicked
meant
into
the
the
extra
end
points he
zone.
didn't miss.
But his kickoffs
Yeah.
were unbelievable.
I know.
Just, he's got a strong leg. He's clearly the strongest leg of the 3
But
kickers.
it just shows what Iowa kids do around here.
Yeah, it's kinda nice to see, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
You sit
Small
there.
town Iowa kids.
Huh?
Yes,
Small town Iowa kids
Yeah.
too.
but look at the tradition over the years of West Branch and Solon.
Yeah, that's right.
Good, strong football
Oh, yeah.
programs
right.
and good coaching,
Yeah.
you know, so.
And Barry's brother's kid caught a couple, Lehman.
Lehman,
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
did.
Yes,
Yeah, Braden, yeah.
do you have
He's
your
got
eyes on
another
him?
year.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
He looked good.
I thought he looked good.
Oh yeah, and he's got big.
He's only.
And strong.
He's a junior, right?
Junior, right,
yeah.
He's a big kid.
yeah,
He's bigger than any of our tight ends.
right.
How big is he, guys?
6'5". He was 6'5" in high school.
High school, he was
But he
good
probably
basketball.
weighs, I think he was listed in the program at 240.
Okay,
And I bet he's a little bigger than that.
Yeah, wow.
He's going to need to be. Well, UNI was impressive, and it wouldn't
Yes.
surprise me if their quarterback, Cole Morgan, you know, for a guy that's been knocked around and had a few concussions, he stayed in there.
He's
strong,
good,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
He throws a good ball.
Yeah.
And Mark Farley's a good coach.
That's right.
Absolutely.
well, that's the one that impressed me, is
Like
his boy.
if Paul Rhodes is really in trouble, I'm sure Pollard will look to Farley.
His
just to
boy.
consider.
What'd he do, make 14 tackles?
He did, eh?
Farley's
Oh, I didn't
kid.
know that.
And did you hear what Farley said after the game?
No,
He said when they reported for camp, for practice at the start of the year, and he saw his own son, Mark, running, he said, well, he's not gonna be able to play all year.
Yeah, right.
He mentally had ruled him out for the whole year. And Saturday against us was the first contact that he'd had. He didn't have any contact in practice.
Wow.
Cause he broke his leg
Pretty
early
severe,
last
pretty
year,
severely.
right?
Yeah.
Right, I
Yeah.
think in October.
He hasn't had much experience, period, in college ball.
Yeah, he played well.
He was tough.
Wow,
I do look for good
Tough
things
kid.
from you and I the rest of the season.
I agree. Now, how long has Farley been there? 10 years or something like that?
I think so.
I bet
He's
it's-
maybe had one
it's
losing
pretty
season.
close.
He's had
You know,
a lot of good teams there.
They play North Dakota State sometime in October, which will be a really
Do you know the right
interesting
game is to be played?
I don't.
That'll be interesting. That's a very good North Dakota State team that beat ISU.
Oh, yeah.
Youngstown State, another perennial power in the FCS and in the conference, they had a lead at Illinois
Yeah.
on Saturday and blew it. Illinois scored 3 times in the fourth quarter. Their new quarterback, Wes Lunt,
Yeah.
You're
came
gonna
up
find
big.
that with Illinois scoring a lot of points this year.
You think? I
They
still
did
think they're
last-
gonna lose a lot of games.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well, they'd have to be better than they have been, Illinois.
Yeah.
They've had a couple really tough seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And if their coach Beckman doesn't win half his games, he's gonna be gone.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Ball State is up next, 2:30 this Saturday at Kinnick, and that game will be on ESPN2, The Deuce. So make your plans now. Guys, I missed my first home game. Well, not my first. I missed the 5th home game since I came here in '77. I wasn't here. I had to go home to my high school class reunion, which was a blast. I got to watch the game, my buddy's
Yeah.
man cave with a bunch of friends who are Hawkeye fans. And so what was it like? Were most of the seats filled? On TV, I noticed in the north end zone down at the field level in, say, the east corner, there was a section that was completely empty.
And there were empty seats. I think the announced attendance was 65 or 66. So
I think, yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a fairly empty section up where the students sit,
Yeah.
and there were empties.
And then the thing that I noticed, because I had to give my grandson a ticket, so I went out looking for a ticket. And it was hard to buy a ticket outside because northern Iowa were buying them.
Yeah,
at full
there were a
price.
lot of UNI fans,
Yeah.
particularly in the north end zone.
That's right.
They filled that in.
So it would have been worse than that if they wouldn't have, but if all the news made of it that we weren't gonna have a sellout, I think they got in their cars and come on down and bought them.
Well, there were still, almost 5,000 seats that didn't get sold, and there's
Right.
supposed to be
Right.
7,500 right now at this point for the Ball State game that are unsold.
Well, I'd say it's worse than that. And one thing you're not gonna have Ball State travel here like
That's right.
northern.
Well, there's a difference too between sold and no-show.
Right.
True.
There were
Yeah.
more no-shows than there were enough no-shows that combined with unsold seats, there were quite a few empties. And there will be more this week,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
Ball
yeah.
State won't travel well.
I think some Hawk fans will stay home too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not a big game.
And particularly fans who don't understand that Ball State's gonna be pretty competitive.
That's right.
That's right.
They've got a good ball club.
They've been to 3 bowls.
This coach of theirs
That's
is,
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see him, if not in the Big Ten, at least at some high level Division I within a year or two.
What's his name?
Limbo, Pete Limbo,
Limbo.
Lembo.
Well,
He's
they
won
won,
like 17 or 18 games there the last 2 years.
they've won 17 out of the last 19.
Yeah.
19,
And
right.
that's, this is a good football team.
And 2 were Big Ten teams that they beat.
What I read is they really put the ball up on offense. They pass a lot. Their defense is a little suspect. Does that jibe with what you guys have read?
Well, I don't know, but they beat Cornell 30-10. So
Colgate, I think.
Colgate, I'm
Colgate.
sorry, you're right, yeah.
And they're
Colgate.
bad.
But still, they still only scored 10 points. So, we got a problem at linebacker, and it seems like, and this has been kind of the way it's been the last few years, it seems like you pass all day against the Hawkeyes.
It
Okay.
has been that way.
And then, you know, they did throw for 380 yards.
But I tell you what, what's different, they're not passing on King. The short pass to one side, and I thought Maven played pretty well for his first game as a
Sure.
quarterback.
He
And
got a lot of
so now the
praise.
problem is over the middle, going deep, where
Right.
I think Laudermilk is kind of weak.
See, another thing you have to remember, Iowa for the last 10 years, their defense is fantastic, so a team doesn't practice their running.
Yeah,
They come in planning on throwing.
our defensive line is
That's
really
what
good.
Northern
Yeah, they're gonna
Illinois
be
did to
strong,
us.
yeah. But our D-line, you know, they need to put some pressure on the quarterback to help out the,
That's right.
I thought late in the game, the pressure finally got to you and I,
Yeah.
from the Hawkeye D-line.
true. Yeah.
You know, who I think is terrific, who really doesn't get a lot of attention, is Trinka Passat. I think he's just one of the best defensive linemen we've had, going back to Crowell and King and Klug and Babineau. He's really talented. Just, he never stops.
He had a good season last year. Is he
Yes,
a
he
junior or senior?
No, he's a senior.
Senior.
That's
He's
too
a-
bad.
He and
Yeah,
Davis are both seniors.
yeah.
As is Mike Hardy, who has been beaten out now by Nate Meyer. Meyer's listed this week as the number one, and
Mhm.
Hardy is second team.
How
Now, we
did,
had several sacks, though.
yeah,
We had a few, yeah.
how did Carl Davis look?
I think it looked all right.
Yeah.
First
He
game,
didn't get a lot of tackles,
No.
but I think
first game.
they were concentrating on him.
Mm-hmm.
He got so much preseason publicity.
Sure did.
I think they
And
were,
this is why Farley's a good coach.
yeah.
He looks at this stuff and he really knows how to coach it.
Trinka
That's how they beat
Passat
Iowa State last year.
had 10 or 12 tackles, and Davis had, I think, 3. But some of that was the
Right, away
difference
from
in blocking.
Yeah, yeah.
But have you ever seen a game where a team got 3 penalties for time?
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a game where a team, they were up to,
Oh, they
I
had
think,
16?
13 penalties before we had any.
Yeah, yeah.
But the time,
We should have had one.
even on the kickoff, they got called for
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I've never seen that.
no. We had Desmond King, I think, clearly interfered with what should have been a UNI touchdown. They didn't call interference. He broke the pass up, but
I know which play you're talking about, and I thought the same thing.
was in the southeast corner.
That's right. And then
Right along the side.
Farley ran out there all the way
Yeah,
down.
Farley ran down.
Yeah,
Did he?
Yeah, and I think he's a pretty level guy, so I thought the same thing.
How was the scoreboard?
Terrible,
Terrible. It's
just terrible.
the replay, for all the money we've spent,
Oh, I know.
when they start showing the replay, it flashes up and down. It's
Really?
just, it's ridiculous.
Like my TV up the cabin.
but you didn't pay $8 million, right?
That's right.
You know, I live near the stadium, and I've heard them testing it all week and the week before,
Yeah.
leading up to the first home game, and I noticed Monday, Labor Day, they were out there testing it again. Pretty much, I'd say at least a couple hours.
The sound or the
Well,
screen?
sound for sure.
Well,
I
the
can't
sound was
see the
bad
screen.
too, I mean.
Was it?
Let me tell you, I know, because that's where I got my stupid tickets.
Where are you seating?
Yeah.
Right.
Seated.
You know where the student section is?
Yeah.
I'm the first row in the student section,
On the north end or the
south,
southwest corner?
In the end zone?
I meant
almost.
south.
No,
Like
in
it.
the west stands.
No, the east stand.
Southwest.
The east stands.
Yeah,
You're in the southeast,
yeah.
by the old visitors tunnel. I guess it's where the new visitors tunnel is too.
No, that,
Well, if you're by the students, you're in the southwest corner.
Right.
yeah, in the southwest corner.
Okay.
South, where they always have been. But
What
they
row are
moved
you?
me- Huh?
What row?
Well, that's the only good thing, 41. I'm at the top.
But the students are standing up the whole game.
They're standing up on those, so you don't see anything.
Oh, geez.
I went from the 35 to the 5. I'm not a happy camper. I don't think I'll go next year.
That's
I mean,
too
it
bad.
just doesn't. Then they told me, well, they talked to the guy that had my seats and try and get him away from him and give them back to me. So I was happy going till the last week. The guy called me.
Really?
He says, but I'm gonna keep Nebraska, Wisconsin,
Oh,
and Iowa
understand.
State. And I said, no, forget it all.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, what a deal for
Oh,
you.
I know, I mean,
Yeah.
nothing went good.
Have you reached out to Mark Jennings since the game?
Well, he promised something, I don't wanna get into
All
it.
right.
I mean, I
You-
like him all.
You've
but-
spoken to him.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah. I mean, it's not fair.
Oh, boy.
And you would say, I give an extra 500,000.
And you got put up higher and into the student
Right.
section. Further away.
However, let's use that example.
Did you
If
increase your seat license? What you're describing is the $200 per seat section, but there's 400 and 600. Why, I don't understand why we're not up there.
Well, they told me I was in the same row. It's a long row that goes down there. I mean, I thought I was getting something better than this. Now, let me tell you what goes on over there. If Warren Buffett would come in and buy every ticket up he could, if he gave enough money to the university.
Except he's a Cornhusker fan.
Well, I don't care. Well, I'm using that for example, because he has priority. If he gives that much money, he has priority to buy any tickets he wants, or all of them.
Yeah.
And this is what happened to me. A corporation wanted those end seats I had. So then I got bumped.
And they had more points and they'd given more money, that's what
Oh, yeah.
that's how they work over
But
there.
here, I'm 60 years
Yeah,
of going over there. I started selling peanuts and popcorn over there. Then we sat through all the Cummings and Lauterberg and didn't miss a game. And
I'm hoping some enterprising reporter will invest the time to try to figure out how much the dollar gain was balanced against the aggravation that everybody went through with reseeding. And the whole reason for it was to raise more money.
yeah,
And so I want to see how much more it raised.
well, it's supposed to be public record, but you'll never get the detail from the athletic
Well-
department, will you? You know what I mean?
That's what
The
I'm.
revenues are public record, but
Okay,
finding the incremental amount is going to take a lot of very hard work. But it's there if somebody wants to go to it.
well, and plus, when they were reseeding, or maybe it's when they were redoing Kinnick and they were, I guess they did some reseeding then, when that was being done. Conveniently, their records don't go back 60 years, bud.
no, I know it.
You know,
That's what they tell me.
conveniently, they go back about 30.
Forget it. Right, that's
Yeah,
right.
so
No,
the
I went
computer
through this.
generation kind of
Right.
mentality is what they use.
Yeah,
So, hey, you can input into a computer's where it starts, right? So they could have put in all those records
yeah.
initially,
They could have done something.
but they didn't. Well, that's one of the.
Then I go
I've
to
had
buy
that
my son a
conversation
ticket, or
several
grandson.
years ago with the university.
Guy said, I got one. How much? Will you give me 20? I said, yeah. He said on the 40-yard line.
$20.
He got 20 bucks. I mean, this
How
is
close to game time was that?
20 minutes,
Yeah,
15. I mean, it was close. I now said my grandson wanted me to get one of those $80 ones. I know. But,
well, they have some disgruntled people that have been moved, so you know what? They better keep winning.
Yeah.
yeah.
They better keep
That's
winning,
right.
because if the situation, changes next season or 2 years or 3 years, they'll see some results from that.
Oh, I think they have already this year. But,
Yeah.
and I can say this, Phil, for example, is Dickens, the Jewy.
Yeah.
I ain't giving him any money. I'm just
Did
not
your-
gonna go.
Did your tailgate site get moved too?
Oh, yeah, that's where
Yeah.
she. Now I was promised.
You're halfway to downtown now, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, right. I was promised that the pass that I had would get me to any lot but the expensive lot.
The expensive lot being the one right
The
west.
Kinnick lot.
Yeah.
The one that's
Kinnick
half
lot,
empty?
Right, so I was gonna go to the north. Well, that doesn't work in there.
Okay.
I go to this cheap one, the guy says, that ain't a pass.
Which one? Which lot? Across from Carl?
Across
Okay.
on Melrose.
Oh.
And I said, now listen, you're gonna have to get somebody, but this is a pass that I got. And I was told his good friend, well, we're new. And I never seen a colored one like that. Get out there. And so he did leave me in, and as we get in
The
there.
color of your parking pass?
Yeah. As we get in there,
Jeez. What?
here comes all these guys in the cars with the yellow shirts on, the employees at the hospital. It's a hospital parking lot,
Yeah, the doctor.
and they're charging you.
Oh,
So I bet there wasn't 50 cars in there that were parked there.
And I heard the Kinnick lot was rather empty.
It was empty. I walked over there.
that's amazing.
It was empty, and there were tents there. And tents is no. And another thing they do, they're wise, a lot of them brought umbrellas, these big umbrellas, you know, and they just stuck the umbrellas up.
Instead of tents.
Yeah, no control of it whatsoever.
Well, I heard the tents though were in that roped off area, right behind the press box. It's supposed to be for people that have the suites.
Yeah, that's right, you're right.
That's where the tents were, right?
No, there was some on the other line.
Oh, were there? Okay,
The big car dealer, he had some in there.
yeah.
Who? Billion?
Billion.
Oh.
I mean, I don't care. But don't tell us. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Tell you one thing and do another.
Yeah, that's right. And this is what they use for a letter. They're saying, we can go over here on Melrose and put your tent up. So most of those people were happy about that, because they said you can't. I could probably park in there until they raised it. Nobody knew they were gonna raise it unless they did. But I couldn't put a tent up.
How was
No.
the tailgating in that lot you went to? Off Melrose?
You wouldn't like it.
No?
You wouldn't like it. Let's face it, where we were, it was like the main drag of a midway.
Well, don't you assume that some of your friends who usually show up couldn't find you, didn't know where
Right,
you
they
were?
couldn't find it.
But if you go back there, presumably they'll be able to find you the next time.
Well, but what I'm afraid of, Pat, and I don't know because I have no figures on it, they're not gonna find a place to park. Because security, police, they all park in there.
Yeah, parking is really a problem.
But they charge you, the thing that gets me, then you give all this, and then when you go buy your ticket, you have to pay another
Yeah.
extra money to get in there.
Yeah.
So these people are paid and they can't find a parking spot?
Part of the parking problem, of course, is the proximity of the stadium to the hospital, because
Yeah.
the hospital's gotta stay open, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
people are in there.
But what I'm saying is, what are they charging, $1 or $2? I don't even know what it is.
For
A
parking.
game.
Oh,
And then this Joe Blow can't find a spot. I mean, everything they do is extra charges.
yeah,
Well, I heard there was a new Herky unveiled at the game.
yeah. That was the biggest mystery of the day.
Was it?
Right?
When he came out,
I
I
know.
thought, what is this?
I felt
Where's Herky?
Did he look?
Well, there'd been absolutely no publicity.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. He looked to me like, I forget the name of the movie. There was a movie about bank robbery in a Boston suburb
Okay.
with Jeremy Renner, and they all wore
They wore
masks. And
masks.
when it came out, I thought that looked like a bank robbery mask.
Was old Herky anywhere?
No,
No, he's gone.
Well, what's the deal with this new Herky? mean,
I don't know. 'Cause
Someone
there
come out.
was no-
I wish somebody would stand forward and say, I'm the one that designed it, because it's ugly.
Well, whose idea was it to change
I
it?
don't know.
Yeah, what was wrong with the old?
See, we don't
Let's
find any of this stuff
see.
out anymore.
No.
Usually,
New
if there's
Herky.
something new, there's
Yeah.
publicity about
Well, another genius marketing.
what we're gonna
move over there.
unveil.
There you go, there you go.
Look, he was wearing a helmet that looked like a
Oh, I know.
1930s or 20s leather helmet.
I think they got it off Niall Kinnick and put it on.
What I saw,
Niall Kinnick's helmet was much more substantial than that one.
he didn't have, he had, his lower body, unlike Old Herky, was more cartoonish. He had
He had these
cartoonish
huge
boots.
yellow, well, I suppose they were gold, shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes. I mean,
Looked
it
like he could barely put one foot in
I
front
hope
of
they
him.
don't, I hope they don't take it
And Old
over.
Herky had a natural, it was the costume wearer's body.
Football pants,
Yeah,
Football
socks,
pants,
sure.
That's right.
yeah.
And where he could move around, this guy act like he couldn't even move around.
I don't think he could with these shoes on.
So was it
Looked like they were
handicap Herky or?
These are like clown shoes, right?
But like, that's
Andy
it.
Yuck.
Nobody knows because it didn't say anything
Yeah.
about it.
No, there's been no release, no explanation. And this thing, how the old one used to come out on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one came out on a golf
Oh,
cart.
yeah, well,
Because he can't walk. Maybe we could get him Earl's walker.
Couldn't walk that far.
Joe, what do you think? Would Earl own his walker to the new Herky?
he would have broke that board that he comes out on.
I don't know.
Well, that sounds suspiciously
weird.
like another marketing
Yeah, doesn't it though?
ploy.
I could almost tell you.
Did he have black and gold or red and white on? I'm just curious.
Well, he
It
had
was
the
black and gold.
black and gold,
But he had a uniform that had 00
and
on
those
it.
yellow
Oh,
shoes
really?
didn't look
Okay.
gold to me.
Looked like
About like your hair.
30 years ago, shortly after Hayden got here, one of the banks put out a little bank with a hole in the helmet that had a 00 on the shirt, and that's what I thought of as soon as I saw it.
Was that the old First National Bank?
I think it was.
I think it was,
yes.
I remember. Well, so
boy.
Old Herky, and he is getting panned, I'm sorry, New Herky is getting panned throughout the internet. They're just
Well,
ripping it.
We'd like some explanation for why.
Yeah, and who
why
did decide on
Who
it?
decided we needed a new Herky?
That's probably confidential information.
Why?
Well, it would be, it's.
Who designed it?
Why the stealth? Why just unveil it? I don't know. Who knows? Jeez.
Well, that's like
You
all
know,
these
if you're gonna
circuits.
do that, why don't you have a contest?
Well, they had all
The
these.
state of Iowa.
Well,
have-
see, this is one I'm wondering. They had all these turkeys all over town. Is it one of them?
No.
No, I didn't know.
No.
No.
The mouth is similar
Yeah, okay.
in
Yeah.
design on the beak to the Herkies on Parade.
His head
You know,
looks
my-
more compact than the Old Herky. Old Herky's head was way oversized, big helmet. This head looked more compact.
One of my thoughts, I put out a tweet after I'd seen a couple about the old new Herky, this is similar to the Iowa State trophy situation.
The Cyhawk thing.
Unveiled a trophy that nobody liked, and
Yeah.
we needed to try again.
Yes, it sounds
Well, I
like.
hope this turkey.
I just hope it doesn't take a year to get this one
Yeah, I hope it
started.
don't show up Saturdays.
Oh,
That's
he'll
all
be
I
there.
know.
They invested a lot of
Because
time and money.
they'll get a boo on it. All the people are upset about.
Did people boo New
No,
Herky?
I say they
Well,
will.
no, we
It's-
were stunned.
We didn't know what it was. I thought maybe Northern Iowa brought it down or something.
Ah.
And they also have a new, you know how the truck always hits the opponent's
Yeah.
symbol? They have got
Yeah.
a new one of those that I didn't like at all either.
Does the truck still obliterate the opponent's
Well, the truck is in
symbol?
the video, but it's not very clear.
See, they hired some new marketing firm, didn't they, to redo some of this? and
I don't know.
Redo the music and all that stuff for
Well,
this year?
Yeah, the music is all redone. Of course, I'm not a very good critic of it. I don't like the music. I
No,
keep
I
waiting
don't
for some Frank Sinatra or
Yeah,
At 30,
Ella Fitzgerald.
Well,
32,000
Yeah.
students, don't you think that we have some students out there could draw up a nice turkey rather than hiring
I
somebody?
guarantee you,
to
they
draw it?
paid somebody a lot of money
Oh,
to
I
come up
know
with the
it.
design, and then
Yeah.
you have to create the costume, which is expensive. So there's an investment there.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
this costume is too expensive.
Oh, I hope it's not.
this was pretty cheap, huh?
And where he got those yellow, I don't know where
The
he got
shoes are
those
probably
yellow
expensive.
boots, if he got those out of the fire station.
Oh, man.
The shoes look like moon boots.
Oh,
Moon
wonderful.
boots, big
That's
bulky
great.
snow
Yeah.
boots or something, painted yellow. So, okay, so the tailgating wasn't what it was hope to be. Herky is a
Well, it
disappointment.
probably depends on where you were.
Yeah.
Tailgating west of Kinnick is not the way it used to be.
Well,
At least
No,
it
that's
wasn't,
right.
wasn't Saturday.
Right.
the rich got their,
Yeah.
the big contributors
their,
got their space.
Well, I
and-
think they wanted to bring those people in on helicopters and up and down there a lot, so they.
Well, but let's interject something here. The rich people, let's say, you just said that,
Yeah.
they weren't asking for any changes.
Yeah, some of them
Yeah,
were.
some
They
of
wanted the
them.
tents
Some of them
gone.
are.
They
Oh, yeah,
wanted the
because they
tents
couldn't
gone.
get in when they come
Complaining when they
at 10
come
minutes to
at
2.
just before kickoff
Yeah,
and
right.
can't get their expensive
Well, now wait a
SUVs
second. They have
into-
that roped off area that had all kinds of parking spaces in there the last few years.
But they couldn't get into it,
Couldn't get
Bob,
into
because people put their tents up and there
Ah, I
was no
see.
roadway. What I told them to do, my suggestion, make a roadway.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take the whole parking lot away.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, they had complaints.
Okay.
Well, here's a question. I'm going to veer off course a little bit. It has come to my attention, I guess there's another Hawkeye Hall of Fame induction ceremony coming up. And I've learned that Ed Podolak,
No, that was last week.
it was last weekend.
Was it it's always at the first game.
Okay. Well, regardless, Ed Podolak is not a member of the Hawkeye Football Hall of Fame.
Really?
How can that be?
It's a mystery to me too, but it's voted on by Letterman.
Yes. I mean,
I just assumed he was. I did not realize
No.
that.
he was everything to the Hawkeyes in his final
Yeah.
2 years here.
I would agree.
In fact, his senior
And after.
and well, then especially.
about
I
like-
mean, his broadcasting career alone
Yes.
deserves
What does it
Oh,
Hall
take?
of Fame
absolutely.
status.
Look
But
how
they're-
long it took Ron Santo.
Well, he's a
Yes.
Cub, though.
Well, that's what I thought you'd say. You were one of those guys voted against him.
So has there been some stuff written or talked about lately on this?
Yeah, the Register did a fairly big story
Oh, did they?
a couple weeks ago on why he's not.
What'd
why-
they say, Pat?
They didn't know either. They
Okay.
were just pointing out that he's not, and it's kind of a mystery.
Why wouldn't the Letterman vote for him? Again, Pat put it best. His broadcasting career on behalf of the Hawks is enough by itself.
And certainly his NFL career.
And yes,
Well, I can tell you this, he's pretty darn popular amongst all the Iowa fans.
Yes, he is.
and listening to him,
He does a good job, too.
you bet you listen to him every game.
I
don't
listen
you?
to him every game.
He's so informative, so knowledgeable, and his ability to keep his cool when things are really falling apart impresses me.
He does, but I'll tell you one thing, he said, I think we had a 4th and 1 on the 18-yard line, and you bring in Wiseman and the fullback. And before the play was snapped, but it was snapped very quickly,
The quick
he said, we'll bring in these, 500 pounds of beef, we just need to run. And Wiseman had just run for 2 or 3 yards, not series before. So we do the quarterback sneak, don't we?
Yeah.
I
Quick
mean,
snap.
yeah.
The TV gets
And he
very
did, you
critical
know,
of that play call.
he's pretty cool behind the microphone.
Yeah.
He wasn't very happy about that call. But
He also, do you listen to him after the game?
when I can,
After the broadcast goes off the air, WHO has, for 15 or 20 years, had this program, post-game program that they call Sound Off,
yeah,
and he's on it. He does an hour, at least an hour, depending on whether they're home or away, at least an hour, sometimes 2 hours on the post-game show, besides the post-game stuff he does with Dolph, which
Yeah.
ends like an hour after the game ends.
Mhm.
Then this Sound Off show starts, and everybody has their own.
What,
case.
did you hear it this week?
Yeah, I did.
Because WMT, there's several of them quit that program.
WMT still got theirs.
Yeah,
Do
they
they?
have
Yeah.
their own.
I know that because one of my clients sponsors it.
Okay.
I think the only station that has Sound Off is WHO.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
but the WMT has a different
MT and
type.
KXAC
They have their own-
simulcast
and,
their own
Yeah.
show.
Because they
KTYM has
they
their own.
discontinued all the high school stuff. KXSC don't do any
Right.
more high school stuff.
And
Yes.
neither does WMT.
They're WMT.
And
And I
WHO
used to
quit
like
doing it a few years
WMT
ago.
because they'd stay on at 11 o'clock at
Yeah,
night
I did too.
and give you scores.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if anybody knows the answer to why Ed Podolak isn't in the Hawkeye Hall of Fame, let us know.
Well, that needs to change.
Gee whiz. Yeah.
That needs to change.
A little bit of basketball news.
Yeah.
Iowa picked up a new recruit over the weekend. I don't know if you heard, Bob.
I did hear.
Yeah.
I was really worried about picking this one up.
Kid
Go
named
ahead.
Connor something.
Would it be McCaffrey?
I think that's it.
That's
right.
yeah.
A sophomore.
Yes.
We got a commitment from a sophomore. It's been a while since we've had a basketball recruit commit as a sophomore.
Dean Oliver?
I think it was.
Freshman?
I wonder why.
You know that Connor McCaffrey is already in the top 50 recruiting class of his sophomore
22.
class. Is that what it is?
Top 25, depending
Wow.
on who you.
Yeah.
who
Well,
you
that's
look.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
And I think he's going to become a very impressive high school player.
I think you're right.
See, now what happens, it's not gonna happen, but what happens if his dad goes somewhere else?
He will too.
Yeah, I'll Steve.
Well, he
Alford.
won't sign a letter of intent till November of his senior year in high school.
Oh,
So
okay.
Right, he's got 2 more
So they can
years.
get out of those
A little over 2 years.
earlier.
Yeah.
And there's a system in place where people can be released even from letters of intent. When Fran came here, Melsan Basabi
Yeah.
had already signed
Right.
a letter of intent to
Right.
go to
Okay,
Siena,
that's good to know.
but they
Well.
let him out.
Yep.
And there
Yeah.
happened to be a kid that played for Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, we've recently seen that going the other way.
Yeah,
Well, I was really pleased to see that.
yeah.
And I hope it all works out. I hope everybody stays healthy. I hope Fran sticks around.
Does anyone
I
know
think-
whether he's
I
gonna
just-
grow more?
Haven't heard.
What is he now?
6'5"?
6'5"?
Point guard?
You know, the thing that will help us with that as well, I think, is he progresses, you know, that might draw some other kids in that sophomore class to the
absolutely.
University of Iowa.
I hope.
You know, the kid who's verbal here for signing next year, Fleming, is clearly actively trying to recruit
Yeah.
people to come with him.
That's great.
Oh, good.
It hasn't worked out so
He's
far.
played- No, we
But
haven't
that's
done it
what you
yet.
need. I mean,
But
you do need
He's
that.
played in several all-star
Yeah.
games this summer where he was always on Twitter saying, so-and-so, come with me to Iowa and let's make history.
Well, and then those kids that play together like that during the summer, they have a lot of power to get
Oh, yeah.
another kid to come.
That's right.
Let's hope it happens.
Now Fleming is a senior this year, Pat?
Yeah,
Yeah, so he's got to still sign in November.
right.
Okay.
So Friday night was the end of the winning streak for the Regina Regals.
Yep.
But I assume you were at that game in Solon. I talked to a kid at the Fall Fun Festival who was at the game and said that he claims Regina scored twice and the referees didn't.
I disagree with you.
Okay. Yeah,
We got beat by a better team and we got out-coached.
really?
And Marv apologized to the boys after the game in the dressing room. And one of the reasons, he should have took a penalty of 5 yards instead of making that kid do an angle kick.
Yeah, from the hash mark,
That was
yeah.
the biggest complaint there.
Well, I heard the snap was bobbled by.
Well, I don't know about it. I didn't, I guess I wasn't looking at that part, but it hit the outside of the, I mean, it could have went in just as well
Goalpost,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And all I got to say, we got beat by a better team. Solon's a very, very good team. The runner that beat us is the runner that we stopped last year.
Connor Ham.
That's right.
Well, I've read he had a heck of a game.
Yes, he did. Very, very good. I hope somebody's looking at it.
Was that
because
Kramer,
he's tough.
was it Kramer, the other kid that had the speed?
And-
He had a
and
heck of a game.
That's right. See,
He
they
ran back an 82-yard
But-
kickoff.
You have to remember things I just kept thinking about on my way home. Solon had a 24-game winning streak.
42.
40. yeah.
42 was it? Okay. And we beat that.
Right.
Yeah.
We ended that.
We,
and they ended ours.
we ended that.
It's all right.
So it was time.
And they went
I-
on to win the state title that year that their
That's
streak
right.
ended.
And I feel if I wanted anybody to win or knock us off, it was Solon.
Well, I'll tell you what, I
Over
don't
on
think,
top. Because this is a 3A school, you remember.
yeah.
We're 1A.
Yep.
So they have nothing. I mean, they're gonna be tough.
I heard it cast a
They are.
pall over the Fall Fun Festival Friday night. A lot of people just decided not to go out or show up.
I don't think we got beat by a better team.
I don't either.
I think we got beat by a good team, and I think Kevin Miller and his staff did a wonderful job to prepare those kids. They had 3 starters coming back from last year's team
Yeah.
that got beat in the semifinals. So, you know,
And Regina's got, well,
yeah, a lot
they've
of
got the
kids back.
same guys back in the key
But
positions.
what we don't have is a running back like we had last year.
That is true.
Nobody in the whole season could stop him, Dixon.
Dixon, yeah.
They couldn't stop him. And that's what we were missing.
And who's the running back this year?
Brinkman.
Yeah, did a good job. I'm not knocking
Yeah.
any of these players, and I'm not saying we don't have a good team.
Yeah.
How did Drew Cook do running the ball?
Well, he had not one of his better games.
No, there you go.
He had a, you know, it wasn't Drew's fault. You
No.
know. You know, both teams had a first down on the 1 yard line, never scored.
Right.
I mean, because of penalties or delay a
Right.
game or a good defense. So there's a lot of things that could have happened to change the game. But I'll give Solon credit in that overtime. Regina goes down and scores first,
Right.
and they kick the extra point, and then
Pretty good,
Solon scores, and hey, timeout.
pretty
We're going
gutsy
for
call.
2.
Yeah.
Pretty
See,
gutsy call.
well, I don't think it was if you watched the game, because those 2 running backs for Solon was eating us alive. And he was just determined he was gonna get in there. And what is it, 3 yards, 5?
3.
3.
For extra points?
Yeah, 3 yards, and they were making 15, 20, and,
Jeez.
you know.
Yeah, but they threw the ball for extra point, the extra point.
Yeah, but I mean,
One,
we,
2 point
that's
conversion.
why they did that. Now, this is
Yeah.
coaching again. Miller seen we were lining up to get this
Well,
guy,
he's-
but
Kevin
3
Miller's a
yards.
good coach.
Yes, he
He
is.
is an
Very
excellent
good coach.
I just think it's one of the finest high school football games that I've seen.
I've heard that from a lot of people, both Solon fans and Regina
Yeah,
It
fans.
was a great
no,
game,
and
you're right.
We
Now-
have good players. We're gonna go on, and, of course, we got a tough one already.
Cascade comes to
Cascade.
town for the home opener
They can beat you.
Yeah, I
this
know.
Friday, and they're tough.
And then we also have Xavier, but Solon has them too.
Yeah.
So Solon's not out of, but Xavier, I see, got beat by Dowling pretty good.
Yeah, well, and that's who West High is going to play this Friday. They have to go to West Des Moines Dowling.
Some strange schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
West High squeaked out a win over Cedar Rapids Kennedy last Friday, and now they have to face the #1 ranked team in the state in West Des Moines Dowling.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that might not be pretty. We'll see.
Well,
No, I think,
Dowling has the other quarterback, one of the 2 other quarterbacks besides Drew Cook, who have committed to Iowa, the Boyle kid.
Yeah.
That game, you know, that the Xavier Dowling game was on TV this past weekend on
Yeah.
the public access, or not public access, but
Okay.
Channel 22.
but I think
Mediacom.
West High has one of the best teams
Do ya?
in the state.
Well, they've got a new coach, and you know it took a big play near the end of the game. Gabe Hinker had his first career catch. It was the game-winning catch with a little over a minute to go in the
Yeah.
game, and that made Garrett Hartwig's first career game as a head coach successful. So we'll see. You know they're going to be fired up to play West Des Moines Dowling.
they play at West?
Yeah, at
In Des Moines,
Yep,
okay,
yep.
okay.
So it's a long road trip.
Yeah, it is.
See, I don't know what happened
Joe?
to Catholic schools if they've thrown them out of these conferences because they're getting smaller.
I don't know, but we're going to
This
have to
happened.
wrap this one up.
See.
We're out of time. City High lost a heartbreaker at home to Cedar Falls, and they are going to travel to Bettendorf for their game Friday. So a lot of
Another
big, tough games this weekend. Get out there and support your local high school teams. Get out there and support the Hawkeyes. And before I forget, I want to thank Pat White for being here again. Really appreciate
Happy to be
that. Got to thank Joe Murphy for everything he does behind the camera. And thank you for tuning in every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18. You can watch us again on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. You can go to my Facebook page or to the website PATV.tv and watch all of our shows. Thanks very much for tuning in. And remember this, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks.
Amen.